How did this ordinary guy become the world's deadliest assassin? How did he manage to escape, and how was he ultimately turned in by a close family friend in original 3D animations made from scratch? This is an exact mapping of everything that happened, simplified for better understanding. Here is Lake Utah, and just beyond it lies the West Campus. This is the Utah Valley campus. Charlie Kirk was shot in this area. To get the full picture, we need to look at how the suspect entered the building and how he escaped the scene. The suspect entered the building around 11:52 a.m. local time, moving through stairwells and across the roof to reach his sniper position. Surveillance footage confirmed his entry onto campus and his deliberate, unobstructed route inside the building. There is no public evidence or description suggesting he used a ladder to access the roof. Reports indicate he used interior stairwells and walkways instead of external ladders. The shooter was positioned less than 150 yards from Kirk, a distance well within the capability of a basic marksman. At around 12:22 to 12:23 p.m., the assassination occurred suddenly when a sharp gunshot rang out across the university courtyard. While speaking to the crowd, Charlie Kirk was struck in the neck. Blood quickly appeared as he instinctively clutched his wound and collapsed from his chair. Investigations confirmed the bullet was fired from roughly 200 yards away. Given the elevation of the shooter's position, he had a clear and unobstructed line of sight to the stage where Kirk was addressing the audience. The bullet's trajectory descended steeply and precisely through open space to strike Kirk in the neck, strongly indicating the use of a scoped firearm designed for long-range accuracy. After the shot, the shooter moved carefully from the sniper position to the edge of the building. There was incorrect information that he descended by ladder, but in reality he dropped down from the ledge. In doing so, he left behind palm and shoe prints, which were crucial for forensic analysis. Though some describe it as a significant vertical descent due to the sloped embankment, he used his hands to grip the ledge and lowered himself as far as possible before dropping to the ground. The bolt-action rifle, identified as an older Mauser model, was still with him as he made his descent. Observers noted that he appeared practiced and did not discard the weapon at this stage, likely holding it in one hand or slinging it as he moved. After landing, he briefly limped, possibly from the impact, but quickly regained his composure and fled on foot into a wooded area adjacent to the university. Notably, palm prints and shoe prints left at the landing spot were documented by forensic investigators and proved vital to the case. He walked all the way to this location, blending seamlessly into the crowd. The suspect in the Charlie Kirk shooting had a brief encounter with an excavator operator near a construction site behind Utah Valley University's Losey building. According to construction workers present shortly after the shooting, the suspect approached the construction area and asked the excavator operator if he could pass through. The operator informed him that pedestrians were not allowed on the site and stopped him there. The suspect reportedly responded calmly, saying he was trying to get home safely following the incident. This interaction took place before police and emergency responders arrived at the scene. The construction site, located near the wooded area where the sniper rifle was later recovered, was part of the suspect's escape route after he jumped off the rooftop and fled from the campus. Within the next few seconds, he ran across a grassy section and headed into the nearby wooded area, rifle still in hand, until he was beyond the immediate campus property. The rifle was ultimately found wrapped in a towel in the woods along the suspect's escape path, indicating he discarded it shortly after leaving campus grounds. But how was he caught? It all came down to digital forensics teams analyzing thousands of security camera frames, matching Tyler Robinson's appearance, vehicle, and movements both on campus and off-site. He also left behind many digital footprints. When law enforcement released campus surveillance footage and still images of the suspect, his clothing, and the escape vehicle to the public. This led to over 7,000 tips flooding hotlines and social media platforms. Additionally, messages between Robinson and his roommate recovered through the messaging app revealed plans about disposing of the weapon, its location, and unique engravings on the bullet. One casing read, "Hate fascist. Catch." A clear, direct political message targeting Kirk's conservative stance. But the key reason he was caught was because his own father made the difficult decision to sacrifice his own son and turn him into the police. It was released that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspected shooter of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, was captured after an intense manhunt lasting about 33 hours following the shooting at Utah Valley University. The critical breakthrough came when Tyler Robinson's father, Matt Robinson, recognized his son in the photographs released by the FBI. Matt immediately reached out to Tyler and urged him to surrender peacefully. At first, Tyler refused and even threatened to harm himself rather than go to the authorities. Seeing this, Matt contacted a family friend, a youth pastor who also serves as a U.S. Marshals officer. With their support, Matt was able to convince Tyler to stay put and cooperate with law enforcement. Now let's go to the arrest details. On the afternoon of September 11, 2025, authorities orchestrated Robinson's peaceful surrender at a residence in Washington County, Utah, roughly 33 hours after the shooting. Robinson offered no resistance during his arrest. On September 12, 2025, Robinson was booked into Utah County Jail charged with aggravated murder, felony use of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. But hats off to Father, where even law enforcement officials and public leaders publicly credited the family's intervention for enabling an orderly, nonviolent arrest. To better understand this assassination, it's important to note that a similar pattern was followed where the assassin also imported his own rifle and rented a post office box. On March 13, Klein's Sporting Goods of Chicago received a mail order for a World War II surplus Italian 1891 Carcano, and the model is in 1938 rifle. The order totaled $21.45, $19.95 for the rifle plus $1.50 for postage and handling, and was placed by someone using the alias A. Hidell. And the rifle, which came equipped with a 4x scope and bore the serial number C2766, and was known for its effective range of around 500 meters with accurate shooting capabilities up to 800 meters depending on the specific model and shooter proficiency. It holds 6 rounds in its internal magazine, loaded using a 6-round end block clip. Before the shooting, at 7:23 in the morning, Oswald arrives at the depository with Buell Wesley Frazier. When asked about a long paper-wrapped package, he dismisses it as just some curtains. At 8:45 a.m., President Kennedy addresses the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce. By 10 a.m., with the weather clearing, Secret Service agent Wynne Lawson removes the bubble top from the presidential limousine, Kennedy's way of staying accessible. Kennedy has made it clear he wants to be open and accessible. He prefers riding without a bubble top and without agents crowding the back of the limo. At 11:50, several co-workers see Oswald eating lunch on the first floor of the depository, just as the motorcade begins its journey through Dallas from Love Field. At 11:55, the motorcade departs Love Field, delayed slightly by President Kennedy's interactions with supporters in Dealey Plaza. At 12:29 in the afternoon, the motorcade turned onto Houston Street and entered Dealey Plaza. 1 minute later, at 12:30, it made a sharp left onto Elm Street, a downward sloping road. As the limousine entered the plaza, Nellie Connolly turned to the president and said, "Mr. President, it can't make you believe there aren't some in Dallas who love and appreciate you, can they?" Kennedy replied, "No, they sure can't," his final words. According to the Warren Commission report, Lee Harvey Oswald, positioned on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, had a clear view of President Kennedy's motorcade as it traveled down Houston Street. Surprisingly, he didn't fire immediately. Instead, he waited until the presidential limousine turned onto Elm Street, where his line of sight was partially blocked by trees. The report states that Oswald fired 3 shots from a 6.5mm Mannlicher Carcano rifle. The first shot reportedly ricocheted off a tree branch, landed near a railway bridge, and even struck a bystander. The second and third shots struck the president, with the third proving fatal. Footage analysis suggests Oswald fired all 3 shots in just 8.4 seconds. Here's where it gets controversial. The infamous single bullet theory claims the second shot passed through Kennedy's neck, exited his throat, hit Governor Connolly in the back, traveled through his ribs, took a 45-degree turn, pierced his wrist, and finally lodged in his thigh. Critics mockingly call this the magic bullet theory, arguing the bullet's path, zigzagging through 2 men and 7 layers of clothing, defies basic physics. The third shot struck Kennedy in the head, blowing out the right front of the skull. This horrific moment was captured by Abraham Zapruder, a Dallas dressmaker filming the motorcade at the time. But here's the twist. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a puff of smoke near a grassy knoll by a white picket fence, just feet from where Zapruder stood. This detail fueled conspiracy theories about a second gunman and even a possible 4th shot, contradicting the official narrative. 12:45 p.m. Oswald boards a bus 7 blocks from the Texas School Book Depository, though it's barely moving due to heavy traffic in Dealey Plaza. Shortly after, he disembarks and hails a cab driven by William H. Whaley. The cab takes him to his boarding house, where he changes clothes and retrieves his pistol. 1:15 p.m. While patrolling the Oak Cliff section of Dallas, Officer J.D. Tippett spots someone who fits Oswald's description. Moments later, a civilian's voice crackles over the police radio. It's a police officer. Someone shot him. 1:26 p.m. Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson departs Parkland for Air Force One. As he and Mrs. Lady Bird Johnson leave, she notices the flags lowered half-mast. Assistant White House Press Secretary Mac Kilduff confirms that Kennedy has died. 1:40 p.m. Oswald sneaks into a movie theater showing War is Hell. As police begin to search the theater, the lights are raised and Officer Nick McDonald spots him among the seats. Approaching Oswald, the suspect exclaims, "This is it," and draws a revolver. In the ensuing struggle, Officer McDonald cleverly positions his finger on the pistol's hammer to prevent it from firing. The altercation intensifies when Oswald punches one of the officers, who retaliates with a punch that leaves Oswald with a black eye. The president's body was then transported for autopsy. But here is the controversies with the autopsy. The Warren Commission's case for the single bullet theory hit a snag with Commission Exhibit 397, a diagram of Kennedy's wounds drawn by Dr. Boswell. Though Admiral Berkeley, Kennedy's personal physician, had signed it as verified, his endorsement mysteriously vanished when the diagram was published. Without his signature, the commission avoided questioning Berkeley about inconsistencies, leaving a glaring gap in accountability. Dr. Boswell later backtracked, testifying that the bullet entry point he'd marked too low was actually higher, suddenly aligning with the theory's needs. But science refuses to cooperate. Even if the bullet had entered Kennedy's neck, CT scans reveal a brutal flaw. The shot would have smashed into his cervical vertebra's bony transverse process, deflecting or mangling the bullet. Yet the pristine bullet presented as evidence showed no such damage, making its alleged path anatomically impossible. In short, the theory hinges on erased signatures, revised testimonies, and a bullet that defies physics, a shaky foundation for history's most infamous conclusion. We make original 4K 3D animation with a small team of animators, so please support us by subscribing and dropping in a comment for more exclusive engineering animations made just for you guys.